Welcome to Deep Thought. Learn the lessons life gives you. Learn the lessons. I'm going to tell you what. Earth is a big classroom. Earth is a big classroom. We're not just on this planet just to chill out. We're not just here just to live life, get up in the morning, go to work, hopefully, go to work, do whatever you do at work, come home, if you got family or something, hang out with them and all of that, make love to your spouse or, mate, play with the kids and then repeat the next day. Life is more than that. It's more than just making a lot of money. Life is about lessons. Every single day, every single moment, we learn a lesson. And those greatest lessons really happen not through things that happen, like things through nature or something, like, we get caught in a snowstorm or something, though that is a lesson. That is a lesson. But the main lessons we learn is how we interact with people. That's where the greatest lessons are, our relationships. That's how we grow. That's how we thrive. Remember, I always say that you're either growing or you're either going up or you're going down. I've talked about the concept of spiraling before. You're either spiraling up the steps or you spiraling down, one or the other. The lessons you learn are to help you get through life. And you know what, I'm going to tell you what, sometimes you might not know why you learned that lesson. Even if it seems hard. In fact, I give you an example. There was a lesson I learned, and it was actually in high school. I had to type a paper for a psychology class. Yeah, had college prep courses. Anyway, I had to type a paper for it, and I didn't follow directions properly. I single-spaced the thing. I single-spaced the paper. And it was actually, and the teacher looked at it, liked it, but the teacher was like, yeah, I'm going to give you an A, but this is a very long paper. I specifically said you should double space it. Now, I learned two lessons there, 2 lessons. The first lesson was pay attention to the directions. Pay attention to the directions. But an even more powerful lesson that helped me later in life for what is my main thing as a writer, I realized I could write. I could come up with something. Like when I was in my schools, I was able to do good term papers and stuff. I did very well on term papers. Like they were easy. They were easy for me because that one lesson in high school said, hey, you know what? If I just follow the directions, if as a high school junior, I could write the equivalent of a 30-page paper. What's a 10-page paper in college? It was a 10-page paper. So it's like, okay, that was a lesson. And every little thing, every little thing, I mentioned the academic thing, but just dealing with people. Like when we deal in relationships, it's a lesson every time we succeed for a bit. It's a lesson every time we break up. It's a lesson for every little thing we go through. And the reasons for those lessons is to develop ourselves, develop our personalities. Like one major lesson in relationships, a lot of people face this, is jealousy. And a lot of times the jealousy is unwarranted. But that's a lesson. And I'm going to tell you how things tend to work. You will keep getting that lesson until you realize you being unnecessarily jealous. The other person isn't doing anything. If they out, they typically just out by themselves or something. Now, this ain't saying they ain't doing something wrong or something, but what happens is usually, especially in relationships, we imagine stuff. We imagine stuff that's not necessarily there. And see, we will keep having those situations happen. It could be and it could be several things. Like it could be a situation where the relationship failed because you weren't as engaged with your partner. And the lesson there is, okay, you keep failing for that reason. So it's like the lesson there is, hey, you need to pay more attention to your partner. Or you could feel like, have the belief that your partners will abandon you. So sometimes when people feel that, they'll abandon their partners first. But that's, the lesson there is, hey, don't look for abandonment. And then also don't do stuff that could cause abandonment. Or a very prominent one is you have a lot of people who feel like in order to get love, they need to control the mate. They need to exercise some control. But the lesson they'll learn is because you can't control another human being. The lesson they will eventually learn, if they learn it, is they can get love without exercising control like that. And there's so many different things. There's so many different things that are there that you got to pay attention to, but everything, what you're supposed to do in life. That's a powerful lesson. Like like say you go from job to job and you just don't quite you don't click with it. But the lesson there is you're not supposed to do that job. That's not what you're supposed to do. The lesson for you there is maybe to find what you're supposed to do, what you're good at. And then say that you doing what you're supposed to be doing. The lessons you get there is how to make it better. When I look at stuff that I've wrote, I actually have copies of the books that I wrote back in the mid-90s as a writer. And then I look at books I've written recently. The writing styles are different because even in what is my natural talent, even in what I'm able to do very well, I still improve myself. I got lessons there. It's like, okay, how can I make this better? Okay, well, I need to read this better. I need to do this better. Even in doing these podcasts, I'd be shocked at how many times I've gotten like a new mic, new equipment, everything. And even with the new mic, how to really work the sound and everything, because I'm constantly learning. Everything is a lesson. And just go through life. Remember, you're in a big classroom, and it's not where, and I'm going to tell you what, there's a pass and fail. When you succeed, when you feel a sense of contentment, of happiness, you're passing that test. When you don't, that spirit telling you, hey, you know what, you need to do something different. But it's a lesson. Because that's the thing. Once you learn that lesson, it's like those like anime shows where, a character go through something and then they gain a superpower or something. That's what the lessons are. Once you learn that lesson, once you master that lesson, that's a superpower for the rest of your life. And from a personal experience, I could say, hey, that works out very well. I can say I'm in the position I'm in now because of the lessons I learned early in life and constantly learn. And I'm tell you what, sometimes the lessons you learn don't make sense to you. It don't make sense. Like a lot of stuff I did, a lot of stuff I got into when I was younger didn't make sense at the time. But now I look back at it and say, you know what? That experience got me ready for this. Or working on that job got me ready for this. Taking that class got me ready for this. Dealing with some breakups got me ready for this. So learn the lessons that life gives you, okay? And I want y'all to really do that. So anyway, think on this. Peace and blessings, y'all.